On this episode of Out of the Shadows, get to know sophomore guard Xavier Turner. Take a tour of Muncie with local Kaleb Mallory. And freshman Francis Kiapway shares his path to BSU. Out of the Shadows starts now. What you achieved in the past doesn't give you a right to anything. Your goals are within reach if you honor those before you, whose banners hang from the rafters. Understand the hours, the pain, the sweat, the sacrifice needed to see the light. You've given yourself to the game, to the letters on the front of your jersey. Are you all in? This is your time. This is your town. This is your team. It's time for Ball State basketball to step out of the shadows. The new year, a time of resolutions, a time of reflection, a time to turn things around, to redefine oneself as someone better, to redefine a team. The first game of the new year marked the beginning of junior Jeremiah Davis's on-court career with the Cardinals, and the first time the Muncie native has played in his hometown since playing for Muncie Central in 2010. Davis, sidelined for the first 10 games of the season with a foot injury, made his game debut with the Cardinals against non-conference opponent Bethune-Cookman, and his presence was immediately felt.
I think he's an exceptional leader. I couldn't speak more highly of him in that way. He's one of the highest character kids I've ever coached. I mean, I love coaching him.
If we're going to have a team meeting, he's the one calling it. He's got a great way of taking the young guys under his wing, and so I think he leads both vocally plus by example. He's a really good player, and he has a real self-confidence, and that's been contagious for our team. I know we're making progress, and certainly that feels good, and it's probably, probably in the nature of a coach to know there's a lot more out there, and to continue to feel a sense of urgency to push and make sure we're focused and locked in on the right things. But it's certainly encouraging that we're competitive, and at the same time don't want to let our guard down at all.
Davis parts the Red Sea, gets inside, slip pass for Kamenecki.
Loud, man, loud, loud. That's the one thing in our defensive end that hasn't been great. Transition defense, check. Most part, we're on it. We're not giving them stuff in transition, and they're coming fast. Are not helping in, check. 2 out of 3. Pick and roll coverage, 50-50. Probably 4 or 5 times we didn't get it right. Right? Second half, I want that 4 or 5 to be 0, and it's going to be at the other end. You don't have coaches on the defensive end. Okay? Let's go. 2-0 now. Let's go. Let's go. 2-0 now. Let's go.
All in on 3. 1, 2, 3.
All in.
He explodes into the fourth court and scores to the basket with the right hand to give Ball State a 48-47 lead. Out near half court, controlling in his left hand. He watches the clock expire, and Ball State has ripped off 4 wins in a row. They are in sole possession of first place in the Mid-American Conference West Division.
That's 4 in a row right there. That's 4. 4 in a row. 4 in a row. Let's go. Keep it going. Against the ball.
I don't think you're getting a swing to me. I'm off.
Get out of here, man. Let's go.
I'm really proud of us, and it feels great as a coach because it's a really good team we beat. That's a really good team. And I'm watching them play a lot of games. They're 12-1 right now. They went to Northwestern, up the whole game.
No, they're 11-2, Coach.
11-2. They're 11-2. They went to Northwestern and won. They got 1 loss on the season. I mean, they're playing good basketball. It's no different than Eastern Michigan. And the reason we won this game by 15 and Eastern by 2 is because we shot the ball tonight. Fellas, really good win, man. Really proud of everybody in this room. Xavier played a good game.
All in on 3. 1, 2, 3. All in. Good work.
It's going to be quick, okay? It's going to be just one quick screen, boom, right there. They're trying to get him in. Got to talk, got to have good eyes. Big guys got to whip that.
The back screen, we switch. No switch. No switch. You squeeze, Kenny, although you bump. They love to chase dribble to the rim. You jump and swipe, and you got to get one. And go ahead, either one. It's going to be a hard game. It's going to be a real hard game. How did it feel at Eastern? Hard. How did it feel at Western? Hard. By the way, tonight, it's going to be a hard game.
High ball screen comes as he darts right off it and kicks it to Sellers. Sellers fades away at the buzzer, and he knocks down a 3 off balance in the face of Denny, and Ball State goes to the halftime break, leading by 4, 27-23.
27 in the Falcons, 23.
Grind it out. That's how you're going to win the game. It's not going to be pretty now. It's going to be more of the same in the second half.
Bowling Green tying the basketball game, looking to add to their 4-0 run. Holmes gets in low, off the window, he puts it home, puts a foul as well. In the final here from the Stroh Center, 58-46, Bowling Green knocks off Ball State.
Following in fellow Muncie Central alum Jeremiah Davis's path, walk-on point guard Kaleb Mallory, or K-Bob as teammates and family call him, grew up in Muncie and also donned the purple and white of the mighty 8-time state champion Bearcats.
Kaleb's the ultimate team guy. You know, he will play whatever role we ask him to play. If we want him to be on the scout team, he's happy to do it. If he's in a role to play in certain games, he has been quite a bit. He started 2 for us. He's happy to do that. He has the perfect balance of both wanting that bigger role, but also understanding if it's better for the team, then he's happy to do that too. He just wants the team to win. He's an incredible young man and a real big asset to our team.
I got a family history of playing basketball with Wani and Robert and Bonzi. So like I guess that, and then just being nothing to do, that just kind of motivated me a little bit more. Just you know, just play basketball in your free time and you didn't have anything else to do. You know, Wani was 4 grades ahead of me, so I was always watching him. So like even as a young age, he was in 5th grade, I was watching him play. And then when I got to Northside, he was at Muncie Central, so I was watching him play. And when I was at Muncie Central, he was at Ball State, so I was watching him play there. So he's always been kind of like a motivating factor to me.
I didn't realize that he was going to be pretty good until maybe sophomore year in high school. He started becoming, he started growing into his body a little bit. He was still short, obviously, but he was starting to develop a little bit and starting to pick up on some of the things that he was watching people do and watch, I guess, myself do as well. So that's when I started to realize that he could be pretty good, and it just went from there.
We're heading to Muncie Central right now. That's where I went to high school, the Muncie Central Bearcats. 8 state championships. I played there all 4 years. I guess it's kind of where it all started. When I was at Northside, Muncie Central had just went to the state championship twice. They had played against Greg Oden both years. They had lost both years, but like, I don't know, those guys were just, we always looked up to those guys like Ben Botts and Jordan Armstrong and Wani. Like, we wanted to be those guys. We were like, hey, when we get to that level, we're gonna win state too, or we're gonna go to state and we're gonna try to win it. Probably my biggest memory would be when, I think it was, Wani might have been a junior, and I was sitting right here, and they were playing like Marion, and Marion was like top 10 in the state at the time. And it was like 10 seconds left on the board. It was like an intense game all the way through, and we had the ball, and I think somebody missed a jump shot and tipped it back out to John, and John hit a free throw jumper to win the game. My senior year, when we played Southside, it was a lot of people here. I think that was the first game I ever had 20. I don't know, it like filled up all the way to the top almost. It was like 2 or 3 rows left, but it was a packed house though, a lot of people. Central South game, because we're rivals, we got the bragging rights for the year. When you saw those guys at like the bus station or something, you could talk about them and be like, oh yeah, I had 21 on you, just that type of thing. It's obviously like a huge tradition surrounding the school. So like when you're here, man, you just gotta play your heart out while you're on the court, and you just take pride in winning, man. It's all about winning while you're here. Is Miss Crump out here? Miss Crump out here? Or is Miss Crump in the hospitality room? Hey, Kobe, go get me some pizza. They don't got no food down there? Oh no, we're good. You're good. We're done. I think we're done now. You got that red button. Thanks for letting us use the facility, you know. Yeah. Suzanne Crump comes out of the shadows. Everybody's coming out of the shadows, man.
He gets a pop with his brother too. He's stalking him.
Yeah, man, he came in the thing while in the middle of me telling a story. That's the
I told him to stay out here.
Yeah, man. You don't listen.
Yes, you did. All right, guys.
All right, see you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah.
We're heading to McCullough Park right now. That's where I used to play basketball and like practice when I was younger. So the haters gonna hate. I don't even know if I can shoot with this jacket on. Oh no! I don't know, just growing up in Muncie, man, it's not very much to do here. Obviously, you know, you got kind of like Ball State, it's like Muncie separately. We really didn't have very much to do, man. We went to the parks, McCullough Park down the street from my house. It's be a group of friends, we go down and play there, a little 5-on-5, 4-on-4. We do like Heacon Park tournaments and stuff, tournaments down there. But besides that, man, it was really just playing basketball, play video games a little bit. We'd come out here and we play like 3-on-3. And then, I mean, during the summers, it'd be like a bunch of people, like everybody would come out around like 4 or 5, and they play till like 10 o'clock at night. And there'd be like cars lined up over here. And like when it got to like 10, the lights would go off. So these lights would come on, and everybody over here would like turn their headlights on, and we'd play like that until we couldn't see anymore because these lights go off at like 11:30. So I mean, it was kind of like playing at Muncie Central with all the lights on or something like that, I guess. I would definitely say, you know, I'm the little brother, I guess. You know, I'm the youngest on the team, shortest, you know, probably not the strongest, but you know, I think I got the most heart, man. That's all that matters. I came in thinking, hey, maybe I'll get a few spot minutes here, and I've seen about every role on the team. You know, didn't play at all to starting point guard for about 2 or 3 games. You know, we feel like we can play with anybody, and you know, we feel a little underestimated because Coach Witt talks about it, how in the conference call at the beginning of the season, he said it was like all the coaches and stuff on one phone call or whatever on one radio show, and they were talking about it, and nobody mentioned Ball State at all. And when we went 2-0, like everybody was talking about it, like everybody wants to play with us and everybody wants to beat us.
Another local talent is sophomore Xavier Turner. Turner graduated from Pike High School in Indianapolis and was the Mid-American Conference Freshman of the Year last season.
I would say that I am a competitive player, somebody that wants to be the best that they could possibly be. On the court, I've been working on that off the court. You know, sometimes goofy, sometimes serious, sometimes too serious. Somebody that likes to compete, you know, all 40 minutes, exciting, you know, competitive, flashy, whatever you want to call it. That's just the playing style that I've, you know, grew up around, and, you know, coming up, you know, watching other point guards like Allen Iverson, and even playing in kids in my area in Marion County. You know, the point guards there, we all kind of have a similar game to each other.
He's the ultimate competitor. I mean, he really, really wants to win. And when the game's on the line, he's always going to leave it all on the floor.
Probably at the beginning of 8th grade, I started really getting interest from the collegiate level. I had shoe boxes, like a lot of shoe boxes, trash bags. They began to become trash bags once I knew I was going to Ball State. Just the opportunity to come in my freshman year and, you know, play the type of playing style that, you know, was promised to me, the playing time that was promised to me. You know, obviously they had a coaching change, and so I was looking elsewhere. Coach Witt called me.
When I got the job, I talked to Xavier and Xavier's family right away, and one of the person I reached out to was Justin Cage. Justin played for me at Xavier, and I have incredible respect for Justin, and Xavier grew up across the street from each other.
You know, Justin Cage called me and told me that, you know, this is a coach you want to play for. He, you know, has all the intangibles to get you to the next level.
One of the things you're looking for in recruiting is trust. And Xavier didn't know me, but he'd known Justin his whole life.
You know, I could just feel that Coach Witt, what he was telling me was the truth. I could just feel it.
Part of our growth with Xavier has been trying to make sure he understands the importance of weightlifting or skill in May and June, and the attention to detail. And I'd say as a young player, he hasn't always connected the importance of doing the little things right in May and June and how that relates to the games in October, November, December. It's when the lights are on, he's the ultimate competitor, and for him to become the best player he can be, he's got to have the lights on year-round. Whether they're on or off on the game floor or in the arena. But he's a really talented player, and he's very, very bright, very bright. Picks things up on the court, understands our style of play, and the biggest jump he's made from a freshman is his ability to use pick and rolls. A year ago, he was really a score-first point guard, and still is a little bit to an extent, but he's getting better at getting other guys shots and using pick and rolls in a way to create rotation and for the other players, and his continued growth in that area is what's going to allow him to reach his potential.
You know, court vision is probably, you know, one of the things that I've always had coming up. It just came instinctively. I like to throw a lot of no-looks because it sets the defender, you know, it throws the defenders off.
What Xavier has been in the past is like a home run hitter as a passer. You know, sometimes holding the ball too long and either making the great play or the turnover, the parallel to a quarterback who throws a lot of long passes and throws a lot of touchdowns, but a lot of interceptions too. And trying to teach him to make the simple plays as much as he makes the home runs, and continue to get his assist to turnover ratio in the right direction. He's really done that the last couple games, and being able to make the checkdowns, make the simple plays, put the defense in rotation, create for others, let others create for him. That's what allows him to be his best and us to be our best.
You know, everybody here knows what they want to do with this season and with this team. And, you know, we're constantly working hard day in and day out to, you know, get better every day.
Basketball is many things to many people. A game, an outlet, a passion. To some, it's a path to greatness. To others, an alternative path. To a different life. To an education.
Growing up in Toronto, it was pretty rough. Lived in a few shelters with 2 of my brothers, 2 of my sisters, and just my mom. She's my hero, pretty much. You know, she kind of molded me, my brothers, my sisters. We all went to college. We were the first people to ever go to college in our families. So that was big for her, that was big for us, and I'm sure she's proud.
One of the things that became evident was that how close his family was, especially the relationship between him and his mom and him and his brother and his sister. So what we decided to do was we went up to Toronto when he went home for break and wanted to get a chance to sit down and meet his family.
My family's all in Canada. I mean, I only get to see my family probably 3 times a year, and when we get together, it's pretty special.
His mom has worked so hard to help put all those guys in a position to be successful. Francis's brother is about to graduate from college. His sister has, and his mom's worked 2 jobs a lot to help him get through it. And it was just, as much as anything, our way of paying respect to her and to Francis, and let her understand why we were trying to recruit Francis.
My mom actually never seen me play basketball before, so I would love for her to come down here and watch me play, but no, they never came down here before. She just wants me to get my degree. Hopefully she will come down. She always talks about me, you know. She gets a lot of coaches, calls from coaches, so, you know, she always talks about me about that, but she doesn't really pay attention to basketball like that. She just cares about grades. I know she just wants me to be successful. Graduating college is the most important thing to me and to her, and that's what she values the most. She never graduated from college, you know, she dropped out in like 10th grade, so I mean, I know how special it is for her to see me graduate.
Francis's mom wanted to make sure that he was going to get pushed academically, that he was going to get support academically, that I think we valued as coaches his development more than just what he could provide on the basketball court. And so we tried to make sure that, you know, it's what Ball State's about, it's what our program's about, and Francis was going to get a good education.
It's the connection with him and my family. He spoke to my mom regularly. He knew where she came from, and he always talked to me about her struggle and just making her proud. He's the only coach who really told me that.
You know, we had a unique bond as when I was a young kid. I actually lived in Nairobi, Kenya in 1975, and have been back to East Africa a number of different times. My father taught over there, and she's from Africa, so we had kind of a neat connection, and I could relate a little bit to what their life was like before coming here, and thought that was a connection that helped quite a bit.
We moved out of Toronto because one of my friends got killed. Moved to a shelter in Burlington. It was like an hour away. And then my mom found another apartment in a city called Hamilton. His name was Jordan. I used to call him Goonie. I guess he was doing things that he wasn't supposed to be doing. He was shot in an apartment complex about 6 times. He was killed on Christmas Day. It was tough on me, it was tough on my family, because he was real close to us. I kept looking at it on the news. I couldn't believe it. I kept seeing his face on the news, and I mean, we ain't gonna see him again, so.
When we were recruiting Francis, you know, he was at St. Thomas More Prep.
It was hard at first. You don't really have any freedom. You got like bedtimes. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no service. So all there was just basketball in school. You had a bunch of study halls. It was different from home. Being from home, I had a lot of freedom. I can go outside. I was on a little campus, so all there was basketball.
Francis was what's called a postgraduate year, because you know, the Canadian system is a little bit different. So he came here as a postgrad, which means that the conference that Francis played in is the most competitive high school basketball league in the United States. You're dealing with the games that he's playing, and literally almost every starter on every team is a Division I player. I mean, you have college level competition. And you know, we'd seen Francis in summer ball, which that's certainly not the case in most summer ball teams. But they're highly organized, they compete, and it's great competition. And we watched Francis play really well there, and that was a key selling point for us for what we thought he could do while he was here.
Ball State, you know, I have a lot of freedom. I have fun here. But at prep school, it's pretty much mostly business. I went there because my grades, you know, I was slacking in school, so I went there. But I mean, the transition helped me. It helped me in my college career now. I mean, there's a big difference from last year's team to this year's team. I think it's the chemistry. We all play together, and we believe we could win every game.
I think we're in a good place. We're grinding every day, you know, every day in and day out. We know that it's not going to be an easy road to the MAC championship, but we're playing for Cleveland every game. Every game we play for Cleveland, every practice we're playing for Cleveland. So that's really where our head is set.
This league has always been one, I think, where anyone can win on any given night. There are good teams everywhere. It's a highly competitive conference. And to me, the MAC is back.
On the next episode of Out of the Shadows, the team continues MAC play. Find out why one of Ball State's greats has a special connection to this year's team. And learn more about who Jeremiah Davis really is and why he returned to Muncie.